She sat quietly in seat 9, messy black hair, a rumpled hoodie, and a worn fabric bag gripped in her lap. Just another anonymous traveler. When the aircraft jolted violently from sudden turbulence, Rachel turned to the flight attendant and asked calmly, "Is the cabin pressure dropping?" The attendant forced a polite smile. "Ma'am, please remain seated. Let us take care of it." From across the aisle, a man scoffed. Probably thinks she's some undercover pilot or something. Then, cutting through static, the intercom crackled. "Night Viper 9. If you're receiving this, the cockpit is waiting." The plane lurched again, a guttural groan echoing through the fuselage, rattling nerves. Passengers gasped, clenching armrests, eyes darting toward the windows where roiling clouds threatened to consume them. But Rachel remained motionless, her thin-framed glasses catching the dull glow of overhead lights, hands still on her frayed bag. The man beside her, a flashy guy in a designer tracksuit, leaned over and smirked. "You think you know something, huh? Sit down, lady. This ain't Hollywood." His friend across the aisle, hair slicked back and gold chains swinging, chuckled loud enough to be heard by half the cabin. "What you gonna do? Fly us to Hogwarts?" A sharply dressed woman a few rows back, crimson nails gleaming, leaned in with a cutting tone. "Listen, sweetie, this isn't your moment. We pay to feel safe, not to watch you cosplay a pilot." Her words landed like a slap, some passengers nodding tightly in agreement. Rachel's fingers stilled for a moment, then calmly adjusted her glasses. She said nothing, didn't even glance back. The silence around her was louder than the turbulence. The flight attendant, curly blonde hair, name tag reading Cindy, hurried by again, this time with worry in her eyes. She stopped at Rachel's seat. "Ma'am, please. You're scaring people. Just relax." Rachel looked up, her face unreadable but eyes steady. "I'm not the one shaking the plane," she said flatly, as if stating a simple truth. Cindy blinked, caught off guard, then turned away with a mutter about backseat pilots. A middle-aged woman in a bright pink sweater leaned in from across the aisle, sugary voice oozing sarcasm. "Darling, stop interfering. Let the professionals work. We don't need a drama queen in row 9. Her husband, red-faced and balding, nodded, eyeing Rachel's scuffed sneakers and faded jeans. "Yeah, no offense, but you're not exactly first-class material." Heads turned. Some passengers whispered, others laughed outright. Rachel said nothing, just calmly adjusted her glasses again, as if counting down silently in her head. The plane shook more violently now, and somewhere a child began crying. Lights above flickered, and a ripple of unease spread across the cabin. A man in a polo shirt stood abruptly, pointing at Rachel. "Hey, stop pretending you know what you're doing. You're scaring my kid." His wife tried to pull him back down, but he shook her off. "I'm not letting some hoodie-wearing stranger hijack the mood." Rachel's grip on her bag tightened momentarily before relaxing. She turned her head, met his stare briefly, cool, composed, and then turned back to the window. Storm clouds churned like a sea of ash. The tracksuit guy snorted again. "What, you gonna control the weather too? Chill out, hoodie girl." His friend chimed in louder. "Probably one of those conspiracy freaks. Thinks the plane's cursed or something." A few chuckles followed, sharp and mean. Rachel quietly pulled a weathered notebook from her bag and opened it, not to read, but to touch a familiar page like it tethered her to reality. The pink sweater woman noticed and rolled her eyes. "Perfect. She's got a diary. Maybe she's writing her goodbye speech." Quick break. Before we continue, tap that like button, drop a comment about how you'd react in this moment, and hit subscribe to help us keep telling stories like this. All right, back to Rachel. The aircraft shuddered violently again. In the rear, oxygen masks dropped from overhead compartments. Screams rang out. Some scrambled for masks, others froze in terror. A businessman in a white shirt stood, tie loosened, shouting, "Why is she still sitting there acting like she knows something? Someone stop her!" The outrage sparked more murmurs, and glares were thrown in Rachel's direction. Still, she didn't budge, hands calmly folded over her bag, jaw clenched like she was swallowing a thunderstorm. Suddenly, the cockpit door swung open. The co-pilot stepped out, tall, buzz-cut, his face tight with panic. He scanned the cabin, voice barely raised but urgent. "We need anyone with navigation experience. Military training, even basic. Please identify yourself." The cabin fell still, save for the hum of engines and the faint sobbing of a child. Cindy pointed hesitantly at Rachel. She asked about cabin pressure earlier. A sleek-haired woman with diamonds sneered. "You're trusting her? She doesn't even look like she belongs in this cabin." The laughter that followed felt colder now, like a verdict. Rachel stood, bag slung over her shoulder, and started walking forward. The co-pilot nodded, but the diamond-eared woman spat. "This is insane. You're putting our lives in the hands of some nobody." Rachel paused briefly, her hand resting on a seat back, then kept walking, her pace steady. The co-pilot met her eyes as she approached. "Ma'am, have you trained in aviation?" Rachel's gaze was calm, unshaken. "Altitude's drifting off by 4 degrees, isn't it?" she said quietly. The co-pilot blinked, stunned. "Come with me," he said, leading her toward the cockpit. Just then, a silver-haired executive stood, blocking the aisle. "Hold it right there. You're not letting her in there. Look at her. She's dressed like she slept on the sidewalk." The plane shook again, overhead bins rattling. The exec held his ground. "This is serious. We need a real professional." Others nodded. Cindy stepped in, voice strained but firm. "Sir, she's assisting with technical coordination." The executive's face twisted in disbelief. "Her? Technical support? This is a joke." Rachel's sneakers squeaked softly as she halted. She looked at him, steady, emotionless. "You just wasted 2 minutes judging me. That's long enough to lose a wing." The man's jaw dropped, stunned, as she brushed past him. From the back, a teenager whispered mockingly, "She's gonna crash us. Look at her." His friend filmed her with a phone. "Bet she's never even flown before." Their cruel laughter followed Rachel down the aisle. She didn't look back, just walked, slow, certain, fingers grazing a seat like it grounded her. The cockpit door loomed ahead. Another jolt hit, hard left tilt. Screams echoed. The co-pilot clutched the wall to stay upright. Rachel didn't flinch. She stepped into the cockpit. The door clicked shut. Inside, the captain was slumped over controls, face drenched in sweat. He looked up. Rachel didn't wait. "Viper 9 requesting Cohen AV clearance," she said softly. The captain spun around, eyes wide. "My God, only one person ever used that call sign." His hand trembled, pointing to the co-pilot's seat. "Night Viper 9. We thought you vanished after Oregon." Rachel didn't answer. She slid smoothly into the seat. "No time. Your pitch system's feeding false data." She leaned in, tapping the radar. "Actual altitude is 800 feet higher than display." The captain opened his mouth, then closed it, nodded. Rachel began recalibrating controls at a speed that didn't match her attire. A voice crackled over the radio. "Passengers are not authorized to operate controls. Stand down." The captain hesitated, hand near the mic. Then another voice cut in, security, harsh and final. "She's been blacklisted from defense systems. She doesn't touch anything." Rachel paused, fingers on the controls. "Then start calling rescue," she replied coldly. "You'll need recovery teams." The captain turned pale. The co-pilot stepped up. "I'll sign off. Let her work." Rachel slid into position, adjusting the headset like she'd done it 100 times. Her hands moved with eerie precision. Outside, clouds roared. Inside, her focus narrowed to the screens. The captain watched, whispering, "She's flying like we're in a war zone." Rachel glanced at him briefly, then returned to the instruments. In the cabin, the mood shifted. The executive sulked silently. The blazer woman refreshed her phone obsessively. An old man shuffled to Rachel's seat, lifting her notebook. He opened it, then closed it gently. These aren't notes. They're military flight logs. Silence fell. Every passenger stared at the small book like it was sacred. Engines hummed steady. Rachel's voice rang out. This is 9A. Controlled descent commencing. Remain seated. Shocked silence. Then the co-pilot added, she's in command now. Signed off. Gasps. Some outrage. The pink sweater woman whispered, they're letting her fly? In the cockpit, Rachel adjusted the altitude. The Kamchatka Mountains loomed outside, steep deadly. She reached for a dusty terrain radar switch, rarely used. The screen blinked on, showing grainy terrain outlines. The captain raised an eyebrow. Echo wave. Only system not lying, Rachel said. A beep. Rachel leaned closer, adjusting dials with surgical grace. The storm cleared briefly, revealing sky. The co-pilot asked softly, you've done this before, haven't you? Rachel didn't reply. Her silence said enough. The plane dropped smoothly. Shaking stopped. Light steadied. Rachel weaved the aircraft between mountain peaks like threading a needle. How did you know? The co-pilot asked again. She remained silent. A scar peeked from under her sleeve. A younger attendant peeked into the cockpit. Ma'am, passengers want to know who you are. They're scared. Rachel didn't look up. Tell them to sit tight and breathe, she replied evenly. As the attendant left, the captain whispered, that maneuver's only taught in classified combat flight training. Rachel's shoulders tensed. In the cabin, a little girl clutched a teddy bear. Is she a superhero? Her mother smiled faintly. Maybe. The guy in the tracksuit said, nothing now. The blazer woman scrolled silently. The old man held the notebook reverently. She's not just anyone, he said. She's military. Elite. The hum of the engines was now comfort. Rachel's voice stabilized. Landing in 20 minutes. Cheers erupted. Some cried. Others clapped. This is your captain, the pilot said next, voice solemn. We owe our lives to row 9. The plane touched down in Tokyo. Smooth. Silent. Like a nightmare waking up. Passengers streamed out. Rachel exited last. Bag slung. No eye contact. No thanks. Just gone. The guy in the tracksuit stared. Who was she, he whispered. At a press briefing, the airline rep smiled. We're grateful for a safe landing. Our team acted professionally. A reporter interrupted. But who was the woman in 9A? The rep hesitated, then smiled again. Just a lucky passenger. No name. But Rachel was already gone, disappearing into the crowd. A young woman chased her. Please, just show your face, so people know who saved them. Rachel turned briefly. They're alive. That's enough. And walked away. The girl lowered her phone, stunned. In the airport lounge, passengers from the flight sat scattered, nursing drinks, speaking in low, hurried voices. The woman with the diamond earrings furiously tapped at her phone, scrolling through news outlets. There's nothing on her, she hissed. She's a ghost. The man in the pink cardigan sat stiffly, arms crossed, eyes fixed on the far wall as though he could rewind what had just happened. His wife finally muttered, Maybe we were wrong about her. Across the room, the old man with the patched elbows sat quietly, Rachel's notebook still resting in his hands. A younger man approached, maybe a pilot off duty, and asked, Where'd you get that? The old man didn't speak for a second, then offered the book like it was a relic. She left it behind. It's full of flight patterns and old military ops. Stuff you don't just find in someone's diary. Meanwhile, back in the security operations room, Tokyo airport authorities were reviewing the flight's data logs. A techie squinted at the screen, puzzled. Sir, there's an anomaly here. The co-pilot didn't make some of the inputs, but they're logged as internal overrides. His superior leaned in. Check crew IDs. The techie did, and frowned. There's a ghost ID tagged under Night Viper 9. No photo. Just an old clearance code, defunct for over a decade. The superior paled. That clearance was blacklisted after Oregon. He turned toward the screen again. She's not supposed to exist. At that moment, Rachel walked through a quiet corner of the terminal. She passed a flight information board, pausing just long enough to glance at it. Nothing caught her attention. She kept walking. Her pace was steady, purposeful, but her eyes carried a weight. Memories too heavy for the public to bear. In a quiet hallway near Gate 47, a man in a black suit with a navy lanyard stepped into her path. "Rachel Kimura?" he asked. She stopped, not startled, just watchful. "Langley's been trying to track you for 9 years. "I wasn't hiding," she said calmly. "Just done being used." The man held out a card. "No agency name, just coordinates. If you ever decide to come back, we'll talk." She didn't take the card, just looked at it for a moment. "You'll have more luck finding a unicorn," she said, and stepped around him. As she disappeared down the terminal, the man pocketed the card and spoke into a tiny mic at his collar. "She's still active, and still refusing." Elsewhere in the terminal, the young woman who tried to stop her before still holding her phone, sat at a cafe, uploading a blog post. "The passenger in row 9, who saved us?" She added blurry footage of Rachel's back walking into the cockpit, the co-pilot's voice confirming her control. "They're calling her a hoax," the post read. "But I was there. I saw her fly. And no matter who she was, I'd trust her over any captain." Within minutes, the post started to spread. Comments appeared. Was she part of Project Valkyrie? She used NAV tactics I haven't seen since Afghanistan. She's real. I met her once. She saved my brother in 2012. NV9. Confirmed sighting. We've been waiting. The hashtag trended within the hour. Night Viper 9. Back on the tarmac, a ground crew member found something wedged beneath a seat. He pulled out a folded page torn from Rachel's notebook. On it, a hand-drawn terrain map with wind patterns and coordinates scribbled in the margins. At the bottom, 3 initials, NV9. He turned it over, found a faint line written in pencil. "Don't worry about being seen. Just make sure you're needed." He tucked it into his vest pocket like a secret. In an Air Force base half a world away, an old commanding officer stared at a fax that had just arrived. Rachel's name flagged under active field protocol. He didn't smile. He simply leaned back in his chair and muttered to no one. They tried to erase her, but she was never the kind you could delete. And in a quiet alley outside Narita Airport, Rachel boarded a small civilian shuttle, blending into a crowd of ordinary faces. No fanfare, no ceremony, just another person moving through the world. Her destination unknown. But those who had been on Flight 903 knew better. She wasn't just a passenger. She was the last person you call when everyone else has failed. Night Viper 9, still flying.